Hello and welcome to another video in the Ravenblack Application Analyzer video training series. In this video we're going to talk about Content Server WebForms, forms, form templates. These objects have been around in Content Server for many years and are still used heavily in a lot of applications, and particularly in conjunction with web reports. So we're going to show you how the Application Analyzer helps you to manage web forms. We're going to start this example by demonstrating another feature of the tool. There is a global search, and this is actually using the text search, so it's really designed for that. But if you don't specify a search term, you can actually pick any object. So we can pick form and return all of the forms on this particular system. I'm going to start by looking at this one here called Event Form Simple. This is just an example. As with most objects, we have system data, the typical stuff, and if one has been input, a description. And then we have a specific box called Form Details. And this is the basic fields that you would find on the specific tab of a form. But one thing it does provide is when you're looking at the form template here, we also have an open in Content Server option and a mount option. And if we mount that, we see the template for this form. From the template, again, we'll see system data, description, but then form template details. And this actually shows you the table. In this case, is a SQL table behind the scenes in the database. And when we expand this, it actually shows us all of the items in that table. As you can see, this is a very simple table. You can also see that there are a couple of different data IDs here, which means there are items input by a couple of different forms. The actual forms that use this template are listed here. Again, each one is mountable. And for each one, we can see if it's using a custom view and some of the other information that was available from the Forms tab. So you'll see that a lot of information is collected in the same place in a way that we can easily access it, at the same time as fairly easily jumping to some of these objects. In this case, the views themselves we can access too. We can mount them again. We can look at the content. This is one view. We can go back and look at the other web reports power view, and again look at the content. And for that matter, if this web report was linked to other web reports, we could double click it or mount it and see all of the software relationships. If I jump back to these forms again by mounting them, you'll also see that for the forms, if you expand this form tab, you'll get data from that table again, but only the data that was input by that form. And similarly, if I looked at this other form, I can go to the data for that particular form. And again, if we mounted the template, we can see all of the data for both forms. One final feature to show you that can be used for a lot of different things is for any item, whether it's a form, form template, folders, and so on. There is a feature here called Find Dependent Web Reports. And this feature will basically identify any web reports that are dependent on this object. So in this case, I find nothing. But if I look at the advanced form, and I've just stepped back to that here, we'll see that there is a dependent item. There's a web report called Get Form Data, and it's using this form as a data source. And we can mount that. Look at it, we see here the data source. And of course, we can look at the content for this web report, which in this case is very simple. That brings us to the end of this short presentation. As usual, if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please contact us on one of the following coordinates. Thank you.